Check out the fit. Today is Spider-Man on top of Christmas spirit. Come on now, y'all see the logo, y'all see the shine right there, that gold with the gold. Ooh, your boy looking too good. Anyways, we thanking God for how beautiful I am today on this Spidey. Bro, I made a video before this video, and I don't think it's gonna come out before this video, so I'm gonna say it now. Thank you guys for 160 subscribers. I am so happy to have that, and it's such a blessing. And that's just what's up. That's what's up. All right, let's get hype. Let's get energy. If you're not dressed like me and you don't have that Spider-Man drip, go get your Spider-Man drip. Today we celebrate Spider-Man as a hero for all of us. And if you're not a Spider-Man fan, I need you to go and grab every single Spider-Man movie and watch them all right now. Spider-Man No Way Home now in theaters. Go and watch every single Spider-Man movie, because today we're doing the impossible. We're comparing them. We're comparing every single one of them. Because, welcome. I'm Kingston. This is the camera guy.
I don't really know how to look at cameras, but hey, what's up?
Today is Film Friday. Welcome, guys, to Film Friday. I think this is the second Film Friday ever in history, so that's cool. If you're new here, I do Film Fridays every now and then. I plan to do more. I plan to do a lot more. Get out of here. I plan to do a lot more Film Fridays in this grand scheme of making YouTube a cool thing again. So let's get started. If you're new, again, please like this video. If you're liking it, please stay and watch if you're a Spider-Man fan, because I got some controversial topics I want to talk about. And make sure you just decide to subscribe, because you like Spider-Man and I do too, and we should have an understanding. Just so you guys know, today I will not be doing a personal ranking of like my favorites or my least favorites. Instead, this is a professional opinion on Spider-Man. So what that means is it's going to be like the best quality Spider-Man content that you can receive from a movie. Warning, this will include Spider-Man spoilers for every single Spider-Man movie except for Spider-Man No Way Home. The only spoiler you're getting for Spider-Man No Way Home is this. So let's begin. Woo! Number 9. Spider-Man 3. We're starting off strong with a pretty good movie that most people wouldn't say is the lowest Spider-Man movie, which I think is perfect for this video, because it's going to be a lot of things you probably don't agree with. But I think Spider-Man 3 is, when it comes to quality Spider-Man content, probably the lowest on the list. And I know you're probably like, whoa, what are you doing? I gotta say, guys, I love all Spider-Man movies. I love this movie, and I hate putting one last, but I have to put one last. And the one that I decided on was Spider-Man 3, because I think that it just there's too much of the wrong, which is the cringe. It's just Peter Parker's dancing a lot, and he's doing weird things. Like there's this weird breakout dance in the bar or whatever, and I don't know what's going on with that. And then it's some weird stuff with villains and trying to balance everything out. The structure for this movie, I think, is just off. But overall, it is still a good movie. It had good ideas, and I think the writers and Sam Raimi had a great vision, but it was portrayed weird. It was questionably portrayed. So yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much. I really like Sandman as a villain. I really like Venom as in general, just like the weird sludge, but he was very weird in this movie. Very bad payoff for them. This movie had some really great fight choreography for a Spider-Man movie. I think out of the 3, it's definitely up there when it comes to the fight choreography. Anyways, let's move on, because I can't spend too much time on each movie. This one actually got a 7 out of 10 in my ranking out of 10, which is what I'm doing also in this video. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. Number 8 on the list is The Amazing Spider-Man 1. I know a lot of people were expecting to say 2, but I was very surprised. But when watching this movie, I actually was expecting better, only because a lot of people were saying like The Amazing Spider-Man was a good movie, but I watched The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and it was just bad. But when I watched The Amazing Spider-Man, I found that, to me, the only really okay good movie part of this movie was, I mean, there were moments throughout the entire movie, but the last act, the final act of this movie really draws you in, and I think it's my favorite Spider-Man final act in general. It's just such a good final act in Spider-Man history, and that's why this one doesn't get last place. Oops, sorry about that. But I think it just had a really bad exposition. The exposition for this movie was just off to me. I think for a remake of Spider-Man, you should have like focused on this different way of telling an origin story and not try and include weird dad stuff, which is that's what they did. And it was fine. I think the dad stuff was fine, but it was just not, I think, not for me, and probably not for a lot of people. I think the exposition writing just was low down for me. Last act, beautiful. Music, beautiful. Visuals, beautiful. This is when visuals for Spider-Man, I think, really start upping their game, is with the Amazing Spider-Man films. And it's just a beautiful movie, but I give this one a 6.5 out of 10 because that whole exposition point was just like, And I know you guys are like, why 6.5? And then it's don't ask me questions about how I'm ranking these movies. It's not any of your business. So this is where the video gets, I think, the most controversial, and I think I'm gonna get a lot of hate for it. But number 7 is Spider-Man Far From Home. And I know you're like,
whoa, that's way too low.
And the Amazing Spider-Man 2 hasn't been talked about yet. Why is this movie better than why is this movie worse than the Amazing Spider-Man 2? And let me explain. I have an explanation. I think the only reason Spider-Man Far From Home is as low as it is, I actually don't think it deserves to be this low for a multitude of reasons, but it just doesn't work on its own at all. And I know you're probably like, well, it does work as a Spider-Man sequel. It's not supposed to work on its own. It's supposed to be a sequel to Spider-Man, but tell me how this movie correlates to Spider-Man Homecoming, because in my opinion, it doesn't. Other than bringing back characters from Spider-Man, for Spider-Man Homecoming doesn't really correlate to Spider-Man Homecoming. It really is a sequel to the MCU, which is just another Civil War reference movie, Iron Man reference movie, Endgame, Infinity War, and I don't see much of Spider-Man stuff. I mean, the movie is great and it has great Spider-Man scenes and super cool VFX or CGI, whatever you want to call it. A lot of things, great music. One of my favorite action scenes, which is Saving Brad. Great things about this movie. Great plot twist at the end. I really like this movie, and it doesn't deserve to be this low. The only reason it deserves to be this low is because it doesn't work on its own. And I think every other Spider-Man movie, you can just sit down, relax, throw it into your whatever you're watching on. You can be streaming it, or you can be using a CD, which I use the CDs. Enjoy them without any context. Which with this one, you gotta have context, and a lot of things about it that is enjoyable is the fact that it has to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's my thing on Spider-Man Far From Home. This movie gets a 7.5 in the ranking of what I'm doing now, but in reality, it's like an 8.5 movie because it just is good, right? It's good. Number 6 on the list, which is the one that everybody's like thought was going to be my first one on the list, is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I ranked at 7.5 out of 10, the same as Spider-Man Far From Home. In my opinion, all the bad that you guys can name about this movie, I think is outweighed by how much good is in this movie. And I think that's a real big point and reason that, I don't know, it's just, I think this movie has so much more good than is what's really given. Let's go through the list of all the great things about this movie and why I think it's better than all of the movies that I listed. And not necessarily better, like in movie standpoint, just in like this movie, like this ranking is quality of Spider-Man content. It has the best swinging, and we all can agree on the best swinging. Now, this is one that I think isn't really a controversial topic. It's probably the best swinging in Spider-Man history and best suit as well, mixed in with the swinging. But that swinging, bro, I mean, all I have to do is show you a couple of clips, and you're like, oh, I need to go back and watch this movie. But then you're like, oh, I don't really like it. But I can give you some more things and reasons why you should go back and watch this movie and enjoy it for what it really is. The acting, like, this guy, Andrew Garfield, did it so good. And not only Andrew Garfield, I think like most of the like performances in this movie are like top tier performances. I mean, Aunt May was really good. Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone is her real name. I don't really know Aunt May's actress's real name, but these people are doing really good as their parts. And I think a big thing is people don't like the villains, and the villains, they're pretty bad. When I was trying to like find flaws with the movie, I was like, the big one I think it's got to be the villains. The way they wrote them were a little off, but I think the actors did really good with what they're getting. Like, Jamie Foxx pulled off that very unrealistic character in a very realistic way, in my opinion. Anyways, let's keep going through things that I think is the best about this movie. It has some of the most heartbreaking and tear-jerking moments in Spider-Man history, or the most, because it's only one moment, and that's when Gwen Stacy dies. Like, No Way Home is super emotional and all, but it wasn't nearly as sad as the moment Gwen Stacy dies. It just hits so different. It hits so different. just that and then also Andrew Garfield deserves so many awards for just that one moment. CGI is peak. It's the best that Spider-Man CGI ever gets. I think in Far From Home the CGI is good, but I don't think it reaches that level. No Way Home doesn't even reach that level of CGI that this movie does with like Electro, the world destruction, all these different things that happen in Spider-Man movies normally. It's just so great. There's so many powerful moments. Listen to this music from The Amazing Spider and to it's so good. Listen to Electro's theme. All right, we've listened to that. Listen to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man theme. Oh. Okay, last but not least, my favorite personally, which is the sentimental music. I don't really know what it's called, but it's whenever he's with Gwen and after she dies and all that stuff. Listen to this. Okay, I can go back to where I was. I can't spend too much time talking about it, but it's such a good movie. It has so many good moments in it. It's a lot of story to take in, but I was always engaged, and I think that says a lot about what people say is bad about this movie. If I could stay engaged, then they made a movie, and they did fine. This gets too much hate. I can't keep talking about it. Guys. Everybody take a deep breath. This is our intermission. We're about to get into the top 5 movies. Take a sip of your water. I'm gonna try not to spend as much time on these top 5 because we're 15 minutes in. Let's try and give every single movie 1 minute because I don't want to go too long. Whew. Number 5. Number 5. We're here, guys. The top 5 coming in strong with Spider-Man Homecoming with 7 out of 10. Did I say 7.5 out of 10 for The Amazing Spider-Man? 7 out of 10 for Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming is a good movie. And I feel like the reason I like this movie so much is that it's not just a good movie. It's like one of those movies that you can appreciate for just being a good movie. And what I mean by that is like, I can't think of an example, but think about your favorite movie that's not that extreme. You're like, I like this movie because it just feels so relaxed and natural and just more of a down to earth movie. I kind of compare it to like rom-coms. I can watch a rom-com and be all happy because it's just they did good at making just a simple movie. And I feel like this took Spider-Man, this extreme character that has all these big movies that make a lot of money and super popular character. And he started it over. John Watts started over the Spider-Man franchise again with Tom Holland's Spider-Man Homecoming. And I think it did so good at just giving you a breath of fresh air. And just let you continue on a nice walk of just, this is relaxed, this is fun, this is funny, this is original, this is different. Okay, I'm spending too much time on this movie already, but this movie, I think, gets this high because it's just the most unique. It gets all those points for being unique. And I think Tom Holland also makes his debut as Spider-Man just phenomenally with making him actually a kid. I think that was the big thing that the other two Spider-Man weren't. I mean, they weren't very kiddie. You really see the kid in Andrew Garfield every now and then, but you really see the kid in Peter Parker's. I mean, look, I'm calling him Peter Parker. Tom Holland Spider-Man. Also, love the plot twist with Vulture. That's probably one of the biggest moments in Spider-Man history that everybody was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" Anyways, I can't really keep talking about it. Love Vulture. Let's go to number 4 on the list. We're getting up there, guys. Spider-Man 2, which is iconic, peak Spider-Man, probably everyone's number 1, and you're probably like, why is it not number 1? And Reason is this is the professional score, and I can't put this one as number one because it just isn't the big, the bold, the Spider-Man that like it just doesn't do everything that celebrates such a great character, but it gives you such a great Peter Parker story, so it has to be up here. It has to be at least top 3 for everybody that has it. This is one of the funniest Spider-Man movies in general. I really like this movie. Obviously, it gives us Doc Ock, which we love. Doc Ock, we love Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. Such a fun character, such a fun action scenes. You get you get a little bit of Tobey cringe every now and then, which we all love. I think Mary Jane, Kirsten Dunst, I think is her name. She did so good as Mary Jane in this movie. I think her performance and all of the people that were in this movie, their performances were insane. Oh, I love Harry as well. He was so good. So many good things about this movie. Definitely top tier movie. Definitely one of my favorites. So is Spider-Man Homecoming. I gave this one an 8.5 out of 10 because Doc Ock, let's be honest, he didn't make all the most sense. And then number 3, the one we've all been waiting for is Spider-Man No Way Home, the one that just hit theaters. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's going crazy because this movie is absolutely insane. And I don't want to talk about it too long, but I guess I should spend more time on this just because it is the moment that we've all been waiting for. This movie is a masterpiece. This movie is so crazy. I don't know if you gotten a message from me, but if you posted you watching Spider-Man, I message you movie crazy. This movie is crazy. It's such a beautiful celebration of the Spider-Man franchise as it is, with all these different villains coming in, and Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker dealing with all of the things that other Spider-Man had to deal with, and then these villains having their same motives from the past Spider-Man, and just bringing all that back. It's just so nostalgic, but it's also so fun. And this movie has such good pathos. It changes the mood for the Tom Holland Spider-Mans in general, and it makes you feel more emotional. Something that the Andrew Garfield films did the best was bring emotion. The No Way Home movie brought so much emotion to the screen. This one gets a 9 out of 10 because it's so good. I love the cinematography. I love the music. Top tier. They have very many minor flaws, but I will talk about them in my full spoiler review of No Way Home. That should be coming pretty soon. Tom Holland performance, insane. Willem Dafoe was probably my favorite villain in that movie, and it's so good. It's so good. Number 2 on the list, I have to get this video done, is Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse is so good. So good. I don't want to make this video too long, but I also don't want to rush this because The Amazing Spider-Man does so much good, and after talking about No Way Home, everybody's like, wait, we gotta come back. What a celebration of Spider-Man this movie is as well. I really like this movie. It's so much good in this movie. Let's talk about just a couple of those things. We got plot, we got story, we got script. All of these things were done so wonderfully for this new origin story for Black Spider-Man, and it's such a fun story. It's so funny. We get some of my favorite Spider-Man characters. The characters are written so good. The animation is just. Can we just talk about the style that they went for? This movie has so much good in it. And then we got Fisk, Kingpin, which is why I gave this movie 9.5 out of 10 instead of 10 out of 10. I think with some Fisk could have been done way better, or they could have used a different villain. In my opinion, but that's the only reason that this one. That's the only bad I'm going to talk about in this movie because I can't keep going. But if you don't like this movie, you can't argue with me when I say they put a lot of work into it. And number 1, everyone's number 1. We have to celebrate what really brought all of this together. What really gives us that great power and that great responsibility to hold the truths and the loves of these films. Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Or Sam Raimi. Hey, look, listen. This movie right here started it all. Spider-Man is such a good movie. Such a good movie. And here's the thing about it. This movie isn't like the best Spider-Man movie to any like extent. It's not that it's a bad movie. It's one of the best Spider-Man movies. It's not number 1, but it's number 1. It began all of this. It starts it all off with even like unique storytelling. I mean, they don't get him the girl, which obviously they did that in Spider-Man Homecoming. They tried to reference that, I guess. But he doesn't get the girl. The villain doesn't have this redemption because of Spider-Man. He actually gets killed. His best friend doesn't like him. It really tells the story of great power comes great responsibility. It's just, it's such a good movie. Spider-Man it's like not the best Spider-Man movie, but it's got to be 10 out of 10 when it comes to the iconic Spider-Man content, quality of Spider-Man content. It's just the origin story of what really starts the Spider-Man franchise for all of us. You know, there's so much more detail I can go into on these movies, but with the time limit, this is the longest video I've ever made in my life. I've spent 30 minutes talking to a camera to make a video. So let's end this video off by just saying all of these movies are so good. And I know you guys are probably all having different opinions, mixed feelings about my opinions, and I gotta say, let's not argue about it. Let's be honest. We all know these movies are all good. Even if you thought any of them weren't good, I think I pointed out reasons why they should be considered good movies. This is a celebration, not only for Spider-Man No Way Home coming out. This is Christmas, and this is my gift to you. Merry Christmas and Happy Friday. Hopefully this came out Christmas Eve. If it didn't, Happy New Year, because it's around that time now if it's coming out on the next Friday. But let's end this off. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been Kingston. He's been the camera guy. He's actually behind the camera right now. He got to participate in a video for once. Look at this man. Look at this man. I want all you guys to make sure you give me a flip on that like button. Yeah, I got to change it up a little bit every now and then. I try and change it. Hey. If you like Spider-Man, make sure you hit the like button. If you like my videos, please, you should decide to subscribe. Look, I love all you guys. Stay golden and shine bright in the darkness. I gotta work on my outro. I do.